Oh, that awful, disgusting dystopian jamboree, the Eurovision Song Contest. I can't watch it anymore. I just can't. I mean, the music's terrible. The politics in it are just... But anyway. Israel wants to be in it, though. I don't know why, but they do. That is for them to wish. And it turns out they're going to be allowed to be in it. It's because organisers were meeting in Switzerland to decide whether Israel could participate in next year's competition. There were mounting protests, claims of vote interference. That is after Yuval Raphael became 14th in the vote by national juries for New Day Will Rise. But after the public vote, she finished second. And various countries such as Belgium, Finland and Sweden saying they'd consider a boycott alongside Ireland, Spain, Slovenia and the Netherlands. Meanwhile, my understanding is it was countries such as France and Germany saying, don't you start doing this. Now, this is... Are you ready for a laugh? Before the meeting, Martin Green, the Eurovision director, said neutrality of the event was of paramount importance so that the contest remained a neutral space and must not be instrumentalised. Mate! Come on, it's literally been the most politicised event ever. You know, when it comes to countries voting for their neighbours, voting on behalf of foreign policy, and if it isn't political in that sense, it's basically the Stonewall Olympics. Let's speak now to the brilliant Jake Wallis Simons. Jake, always great having you on the programme. I mean, look, regardless of what I think about participation in Eurovision, Israel wants to take part, and it now can take part. Should we take that as good news?
That's got to be good news. I'd be interested to read, firstly, how that happened, how the seemingly overwhelming number of countries vowing to boycott the competition if Israel was included, how that was overturned. But also, my eyes are on Spain, Ireland, Slovenia and the Netherlands to see if they're going to make good on their promise not to participate if Israel was invited. To be honest, I wouldn't be shedding any tears if they didn't take part.
Do you know what? We're having some sort of strange... coincidence going on here because you were coming on the programme anyway just as it was announced that Israel was going to be allowed to compete, and just as you said, I want to know if those countries make good on their promises of boycotts. We actually have some breaking news that Spain definitely is going ahead with their boycott, and I believe which was the other one, Ryan darling? It's not on my screen.
Ireland,
Spain and the Netherlands. And Ireland most likely. They are going to make good of the boycott.
They are going to. So they're not going to participate?
Apparently not. Spain and Netherlands are going to boycott. That much we know. We're expecting Ireland to follow suit. So no, they're not going to participate. They'll save themselves a bob or two.
Well, I have two words for them, good and riddance. I won't be crying to see the back of them, not that I watch Eurovision anyway, but the point is that as idiotic as all this is, as frivolous and sort of fluffy as the Eurovision Song Contest is, it is watched by 160 million people each year. It has been going for 70 years, and the way in which it's become this hostile environment for Israelis and for Jews really represents what Jews are going through in their daily life in Britain and elsewhere across the West. I mean, just today, this morning, I met a British man who lost his son on October the 7th, who said that he doesn't feel comfortable in Britain, and when he goes to Israel, he feels they can breathe a sigh of relief. That's going to a place that's been at war for 2 years, and he feels happier and freer there than he does in Britain, even though his son was killed in Israel on October the 7th. I also met a student at a British university in London who was born in Israel, studying here, and he said that most of his Israeli student friends pretend they were born in Italy or Spain or Malta for fear of discrimination, because in his experience, during Freshers' Week, he met a girl at a party, said he was born in Israel, and she slapped him round the face. That's what Jewish people and Israelis are facing in Britain. In Britain, 3/4 of people said that Britain shouldn't partake in Eurovision if Israel was included. You talked earlier about how it's the left-wing countries that have been threatening to boycott and the right-wing sound countries have been supporting Israel's participation. Well, where does Britain lie? Britain's been conspicuously silent on this, but the great British public supposedly were as Israelophobic as those in Spain and Ireland.
It's interesting. It's interesting you say that, actually, because by and large, the ones who are the noisiest about this seem to have socialist leaders, but not all of them. I mean, Netherlands I don't put into that bracket. But what is interesting, and I think we know what is at the heart of all of this, is because, and I'm going to use this as an example, during last year's competition in the Swedish city of Malmö, over 30% Muslim now. It might even be more than that. Thousands of people took to the streets in protest of Israel's participation. I think most of these countries who say we're going to boycott are actually scared of the growing movement of people, you know, augmented by these pro-Palestine rallies, who will actually tear the country apart if they don't do something in response to Israel's participation.
Yeah, I'm afraid that the hard truth is that this Middle Eastern anti-Semitism has been imported en masse into Europe with the uncontrolled immigration that we've seen over recent decades. And now we are reaping the bitter fruits of that. I mean, last year was appalling. Yuval Raphael, the Israeli contestant, was herself a survivor of October the 7th. She had to put up with boos, with jeers. Somebody tried to storm the stage and throw paint over her during her performance. The year before that, Eden Golan gave a heartbreaking performance filled with boos and jeers. And the most disturbing part of all of that was that I saw footage of her rehearsing for the performance with members of her own team booing and jeering and throwing things so that she could get used to dealing with it. And then when she eventually did quite well in the competition and returned back to Israel, there was footage of her breaking down in tears as she was greeted by her family at Israel's Tel Aviv airport. So this is the sort of thing that Israelis and Jews have got to put up with, not just in Eurovision, not just in universities in Britain and elsewhere, but throughout society. And the good, modest, right-thinking, silent majority of Britons and everywhere and across the West have got to stand up and find their voices and stand up for against this sort of thing before it's too late.
I totally agree. Jake, thank you ever so much. Jake Wallis Simons there.